Welcome back to Girl Take the Lead, the podcast where we dive into the real, raw, and remarkable stories of people breaking cycles, finding hope, and leading with courage. And I'm your host, Yo Canny. Today's guest is Lana Shepard, a business coach, author, and financial literacy advocate who has worked with over 1,300 small business clients across 40 years. Lana's passion? Helping entrepreneurs uncover and let go of limiting beliefs, embrace fear, and tap into the support systems that fuel personal and professional growth. This conversation is packed with mindset shifts that can apply whether you're starting a business, navigating a career pivot, or simply looking to break free from the invisible beliefs that hold you back. Lana's Give Up book series teaches us that success often comes not from what we hold on to, but from what we're willing to let go. In today's episode, we'll dive into the 11 common barriers entrepreneurs face and how to give them up, how fear and perfectionism show up, and strategies to overcome them, the power of stepping outside your comfort zone from fire walks to fearless decisions, why asking for help is a superpower, not a weakness, and how understanding financial literacy can be liberating, not intimidating. So let's jump in. Here you go. So, Lana, welcome to Girl Take the Lead. So
Hi,
excited to have you here. Thank you for joining us today.
thank you for having me. I think this is going to be an interesting
I
conversation.
think so too. Anytime we get into some of the emotions behind our work, it's always pretty interesting, isn't it? Um,
Exactly.
yeah, so let's start, if you would please, to introduce yourself to our audience so that they know a little bit about you.
Sure. So my name's Lana Shepard, and I kind of identify as a business coach and author, and I really could label myself as an advocate for financial literacy, especially for entrepreneurs. So I've spent about 40 years serving entrepreneurs in different levels, but a lot of it in bookkeeping and payroll over the years. So I had a bookkeeping payroll business for about 16 years, of which I had about 1,300 clients come through the door, all entrepreneurs starting businesses, small to medium size. And just recently started a give up series, book series. So it's basically talking about, all the things, lessons learned as I've had and what I had to give up to be successful in my business.
Mm. So, the one we're going to talk about today is Give Up Ignition, right?
That's right.
So,
That's
tell
the
us a little
first in
bit
the
about it.
series.
Yeah.
It's the first one in the Give Up series. And I had a mentor and I had written most of the book and had a completely different title for it. And my mentor goes, "No, no, you're not going to call it that. You're going to call it Give Up. What do you have to give up to be successful? Not what do you have to take on? What do you have to hold on?" So it's kind of like a total mind shift for me when I actually thought about that, thinking that is so true because there is so many things that we hold on to in life that don't serve us. And a
Mm.
lot of times we're not even really aware of those. So the book was born basically out of my lifetime of lessons, whether that be tough, transformational lessons, whatever the case may be. And the first book, the first 11 give ups, is the first part of the journey I had starting as an entrepreneur. And as the series continues, it'll be the different phases of business. So I talk about, the sabotage that we often do to
Mm.
ourselves when we
Mhm.
become or trying to become successful. I talk about clinging on to those beliefs that don't serve us well. Whether that's fear, whether that's asking somebody for help, which is one that I know I struggled with. And, the idea that you have to do it all alone when that's really not
Mhm.
the case.
Mhm.
And it's just, what do you if you think of a hot air balloon, what are those sandbags that you have to let go of so that that balloon can now rise the
Uh-huh.
basket?
And so you can ignite the journey. Is that where ignition came
That's
from?
correct. Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
cool. And um In your book, you talk about, you mentioned a few of them, but 11 most common barriers that newcomers face, right?
Mhm.
And one of them, let's start with what you mentioned, fear of failure, because, we
Mhm.
hear that a lot, but I think you did a really in depth look at that. So, yeah, what can you tell our audience about that?
Well, I think everybody has some fear of failure, whether that's personal, whether that's, for me, it was my parents, wanting to make sure that I could do as well as possible and show them I was quite capable of doing a lot of things. So
Hmm.
I spent a lot of time trying to prove myself rather than just going on my journey and doing the best. So a lot of times when you have those fears, they often hold you back rather
Hmm.
than because you don't want to take that last step or that initial step towards that because you've got that fear that maybe it's not going to work out the way you want it to. Um, and I think it's a whole process everybody goes through. And I know for myself, I really didn't put my finger on a lot of this until I started my journey looking more in depth at this in 2017 when I went to my first Tony Robbins event. And that was like a big eye opener for me going, wow, what is this belief system? And all the reading and research I've done, how did I miss the memo on this?
Hmm.
Because so much of what we do in our day to day, we're not even aware of. It's all running in the background, running our,
Hmm.
influencing our decisions on how we feel about ourselves, the decisions we're making, which door are you going to take, the left one or the right one when you're making those decisions. And you've got all this stuff running in the background called our beliefs,
Hmm.
which are a big influence on that. So once
Hmm.
I kind of cracked that awareness, then I started looking at things differently. And I also started paying attention to what I was thinking and what I was saying to myself.
Hmm. Hmm. So, what are things that it sounds like I know one big thing that from your book that kind of, I know, took you out of your comfort zone when you were at the Tony Robbins event,
Mhm.
but what are things that people can do to help address that fear?
I think first one is identifying them.
Mm,
Pay attention to, one of the things I got told as a kid all the time is if you're going to ask for it, you're not going to get. And it was all based on treats. My sister and I used to fight like cat and dog. So my mom would say, if you're good while we're out shopping, when we're finished, I'll buy you a treat. And we
mhm,
get right down to her buying groceries. We know this is last stop shop and we don't see any treat in the basket for us or anything. So we would ask and my mom would say, too bad you had to ask. Now you don't get. So for my entire life, uh, I never asked for help.
wow, that was
And is that a
because
true belief? No, because I'm
Mhm,
sure if I had asked in lots of circumstances, I would have definitely have gotten help. But when you hear that when you're 4 or 5 years old, again, it's something that's just silently running in the background. And to this day, when I ask for help, I'm still uncomfortable with that. And I actually have to
mhm,
sit with myself and say, that belief that you had drilled into you when you were 4 or 5 years is not
yeah,
true.
yeah.
And people will ask, but they're not going to know you need help
You
unless you
should
do
tell
ask,
them.
right?
Oh, you
So
tell
I
them.
used to get ticked off sometimes thinking, why isn't anybody helping me? Well, it's because I never asked anybody. I just figured somebody would
Yeah,
magically show up, I guess.
or read our mind.
Exactly. Yeah, but those are the little things though. So until I was, into my 60s, about 2 years ago, 3 years ago is when I figured that one out. It
Mhm,
was that one, and you can't have fun till the work ends. Well, as a bookkeeper or business owner, the work never does end.
yeah,
So I still struggle with that one where I can just let go, disconnect from work and walk away and go have fun with my kids, my family, whatever the case may be.
yeah,
I
yeah.
still struggle with that one.
So cool. So the awareness for you, you were able to really backtrack it and kind of see the root and where it originated. I've been doing that myself
Yeah.
recently for some things. And I think it's such a healthy part of us, right? Getting to be more aware of who we are when we're
Hmm.
able to really look at what the root was for that particular belief.
And determine, is it serving us?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if it's not, then it's time to toss the belief and
Yeah.
replace it with one that does serve.
I guess you would also say in your book, getting out of your comfort zone is probably part of that too.
Hmm.
Like doing the fire walk. You did the fire walk.
I did.
It's like definitely out of
I
the
wasn't
comfort
going
zone.
to. And my eldest daughter, Sarah, goes, "You're doing it. And we're not going home until you do it."
So you got to tell maybe somebody doesn't know what that is, but you should tell them what that's about.
So that is one of the exercises, I guess we'll call it, that you go through at a UP at Unleash Your Power Within with Tony Robbins, where you
Uh,
actually walk on hot coals.
yeah.
And they started in the morning, and he basically primed us for the entire day. And about 11 o'clock at night, there was 9,000 of us literally flowed out of like water down the steps out of the Galen Center in Los Angeles. And nobody was running to get to the front of the line because we were walking to the fire walk, right? So everybody was getting along. We all went. They had 30 lanes of fire, like coals,
Uh-huh.
and 300 people per lane is how they basically, and they've got it down to a fine art, like
Yeah.
honestly. And the biggest lesson I learned from that is
Yeah.
when you take that first step, it's not like you're going to stand there. You're going to tootle right across those coals. And it's about 5 or 6 steps. And when you get to the other side, they've got a little pad of green grass and cool water.
Uh-huh.
So what he was teaching us is green grass, green grass, green grass, because what you put in your mind is basically going to be the experience you're going to have. If you go there and think, oh my gosh, I'm going to burn my feet and
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff, odds are pretty good that that's going to happen and it won't be a very pleasant experience. So that was the biggest, and I had never done anything that put myself in harm's way.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So putting myself way out there, and of
Good
course,
for you.
supported with my daughters. They were at the other end by the time I got there,
Yeah.
waiting for me. But it was just really teaching me that, once you take that one step, that's really the momentum to keep going.
Yeah.
So whenever I get myself in a situation where I'm really uncomfortable with whatever's going on, I take myself back to that experience and go, Len,
Mhm.
you're okay. If you take that one step and you really your gut's telling you that's the right direction, just keep going.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to run back or something.
Well, I think sometimes too, when we think we're not being brave enough, or we can point to certain experiences in our life and go, oh, wait a minute.
Mhm.
I walked on those damn coals. Then I'm
Yeah.
pretty brave, pretty courageous. And
Yeah.
that is evidence to kind of work at that kind of belief that can sneak in there that, we're not good enough, or we're not brave enough, or we're not courageous enough, that you have done something like that. So good for
And just
you.
the fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
For someone like me, I like to be prepared. I like to have I like to have it all well thought out and kind of know which direction it's going to go. Does it always go that way? No, but I
Yeah.
try. And
Yeah.
being a perfectionist, right? So when you're in situations, these ones are definitely not in the comfort zone, but I'm so grateful to my daughter that she did not allow me to chicken out and walk away
Yeah.
from that,
Yeah.
because I know 100% hands down I would have regretted it
Yeah.
over and over and over again.
That's so cool. Sounds like a good friend to have. Somebody who just has your back and pushes a little bit,
Yeah,
tells you,
she knew that was an experience that I would gain from.
yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
So in your book too, you talk about the importance of numbers and also the
Mhm.
fear of numbers. And I know that you mentioned your passion for financial literacy. So talk a little bit about what you see in the clients who come to you and their love of numbers or lack of love. Now, I love numbers, but I'm a marketer, so half of my analytic brain goes, "Woohoo, we have metrics," and I love numbers, and I'll crunch them and do whatever. But then the other, my other half is really creative. So I kind of always felt blessed, being that kind of marketer that I had a little bit of
Yeah.
both. But I know a lot of people, and it traces back, I think, somewhat to what you were saying, that sometimes it's that middle school teacher who told you you weren't good in numbers
Mhm.
or something like that that gets stuck.
That or you have had an accountant where you've taken and, you're new at business, for example, gone to the accountant, you feel like you've been in the principal office and gotten scolded for having a bad year.
Shame.
And people are intimidated and totally embarrassed.
Mhm.
And I've had a number of clients bring their little brown envelope with their tax return. They don't even want to open it and going, Lana, what does it say?
Mhm.
Because they don't understand. Um, when you don't understand the financials and the story those numbers tell you about your business,
Yeah.
that's where the fear is. And when you don't understand it, or you've had an accountant talk over you in accountant language, that just makes it worse because it's
Uh-huh.
like, I'm just too dumb. I can't figure
Right.
this out, which is total nonsense.
Yeah.
If you can add and subtract, multiply and divide, you're good to roll. That's
Yeah.
all you need to be able to do. And I've taught lots of financial literacy, and the first thing I tell most is that your general ledger, the recording of all those numbers, is basically telling the story of your business in numbers rather than words.
Mhm.
Every single one of those transactions was a decision you made or a sale to a customer, every single one of them. So when
Mhm.
you learn to read them and understand, what is our cost of goods? How much money am I really making? It's not, profit. You can't spend your profit.
Right.
You can spend the cash in the bank, but I'd have clients say, "I made $150,000 and I don't have any money." Yeah, because you bought a truck and
Mhm.
took a bunch of money out of the company. There's lots of reasons. So that's why I'm passionate about it, because that's the thing that kills a business owner is not understanding, running out of cash, not understanding cash flow, and not understanding how much money are they really making, if they
Yeah.
are making money, and how to track it.
Mhm.
So when you make a decision, making sure everything's going in the right direction.
Uh-huh.
So what is the picture? And Susie Welch, I follow her a lot, and she's got 10, 10, 10. 10 minutes, 10 months, 10 years. And I think that's a great way to look at a lot of decision making is what requires a 10-minute decision, what requires, what has to kind of come into a 10-month plan, and then what do you have to look long term over a 10-year. So it just
Mhm.
gives you a different mindset to look at things. And I know even in my personal life, when I'm making a decision on something, I'll ask myself, is this going to make any sniff of difference in the next
Right.
3 to 5 years? Especially if it's having a decision made with somebody that's already adamant on which way they want it to go.
Mhm.
So I'll think, is it going to make a difference? If I decide to go along with whatever they want, is it going to be a big deal? And if it's not, then I just go with it.
Yeah.
If I feel it's something that's going to impact me in some way, then yeah, I'll spend more time on it. But I
Yeah.
found that really helped me. That was again, I met into Tony Robbins' Business Mastery, which was Jay Abraham. I'm doing 10, 10, 10. Increase your customers by 10%, increase your value of your product by 10%, or find
Mhm.
10% savings in your cost of goods
Mhm.
and get those clients buying 10% more. And by that compounding, you're actually increasing your revenue by over 33%, I believe it is.
Mhm.
So for
That's good.
clients that thought that they had to double their business, they really didn't. They just needed to find 10% more clients and control the growth along the way. So
Mhm.
between Jay Abraham's 10, 10, 10 and learning about Susie, in 2017, I actually started applying more of that in my bookkeeping business. And in a year and a half, I more than doubled my business quite
Wow.
easily and was able to control the growth, which is really important because if
Yeah.
you can't control the growth, A, it's extremely painful, and B, you probably are losing money more than you are making money. Big is
Yeah.
not always better, right?
Yeah.
So
Exactly. So what do you see in 25 years?
if I'm still alive,
Well,
actually,
when you
I
said
will
that,
be. I'm in my 60s. I'm going to soon to be 63 years old, and in the next 25 years, I want to build my Give Up series. I want to pay forward. I want to pay forward to a community of entrepreneurs that and I already do a fair amount of that.
uh-huh,
I've actually taken a contract position for the next 2 to 5 years to help a company as a CFO, and I will do that as well as my other things on the side. I've negotiated my time accordingly
bravo.
and just keep promoting and helping entrepreneurs. Honestly, that absolutely lights me up. I love spending time with entrepreneurs that have
Yeah.
got a passion for life and business, and whatever I can do to help them
Yeah.
and share with them, that's what I would like to do. And then I've got grandchildren and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Heroed technology.
Hmm.
Like in all and basically all your chapters, you talked about technology being your friend and being helpful, and
Hmm.
I thought that was really good. And I guess because of your background, you do see the importance of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. And that goes way back to, I don't know, like 2000 when the first little scanners started coming out.
Mm.
I was thinking, holy hockey, there's going to be so many neat things that are going to come for
We just know that you're
entrepreneurs.
Canadian right now when you
Yeah,
say holy hockey. You gave yourself away
there,
completely.
there you
Tell our
go.
listeners where you are right now.
I'm in Saskatchewan, Canada. So I'm in the prairies of Canada, and the -40 winter is just about in the rear view mirror.
Oh,
And
yay.
we've got another snowstorm forecasted, actually, but
Uh,
it'll
we're
come and it will
very,
go.
very glad you're here. But that just holy
Yeah.
hockey, everybody. We're glad she's here.
But I absolutely love, and like I've been doing AI workshops right now, just teaching business owners how simple little things they can use,
Oh, yeah.
ChatGPT and some of the applications,
Yep.
because for so many of those little business owners, that is a game changer. Simple little
Absolutely.
things, even taking your financials. And I always tell them, scrub your name off. Don't put anything out there that's got your company name on it or anything like that. But honestly, the intelligence of some of the chat GPT, scrub your name off. You could put your
Mhm.
your bare bones of your financials, and you can ask chat questions, what's my cost of goods? What are three things that I could do to make my business more profitable? And it's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing the
I also
information
think
you
from a
get from that.
marketing end for your clients too, I
Hmm.
mean, the way to build their user base is
Yes.
definitely, you could get some great strategies, social media, whatever you need
Employee
from.
handbooks that most small employers do not have.
Mhm.
You can build a handbook in a couple of hours,
Wow,
quoting
isn't
labor
that
standards.
amazing?
And
I f-
I have lots of conversations, especially with my father, because he's a retired accountant, and
mm,
it's always what's next. Like, who would have ever thought that we would have had ChatGPT? And yet they've been doing that type of analytics way back because there's a Jeopardy uh, YouTube from like 2010 or 11 where the IBM machine beat out the other two top players.
I didn't know that. That's
Yeah, it's on YouTube. So,
we'll have to
it's
link to
not
that.
like it's brand new technology. It's just that it's gotten to the point that it's now being rolled out to the masses. And
Uh,
when you don't need to know how to code and do that sort of stuff, that's what's going to make it very powerful for businesses.
well, we could be talking forever. Is there anything else that you'd like to cover with our audience that we didn't? I know you guys, there's like 11 of these different areas. So get the book so you can dig into some of the other ones. But
I think one thing we've talked about fear of failure, what's holding us back,
mhm,
but just emphasizing that inaction is a decision too.
mm,
So when you choose not to act, that is definitely a decision.
mm,
So that was another thing that when I heard that, it brought new perspective to my decision making.
mm,
Is when I wasn't making a decision, I was choosing the decision of inaction
yeah,
rather
cool.
than, making some excuse why I hadn't made a decision. Well, I made a decision. It was the decision of inaction.
I love that. That's so helpful. We can
So
beat
when you
ourselves up sometimes about that. Oh, and before I let you go, I'd love it if you would read a passage to our audience um,
Sure.
about feedback,
Yes.
because that can be very fearful for people.
I know. That's why I have it in one of my chapters, all about feedback.
I know.
So here we go. Being open to feedback, whether that be through customer surveys, peer reviews, coaching, or mentor sessions. The only way you can continue to improve and be a better version of yourself is through finding solutions to strengthen rather than dwelling on it as criticism. I had a hard time asking for feedback, and I took it personally that I was a complete loser or absolutely inadequate in my career. I'd lose sleep over it and then beat myself up that I wasn't doing things perfectly, etc. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and your mentor or coach is only there to point out areas that need work. Everyone has areas of their life that need improvement. There's no one walking this earth today that is perfect. As Tony Robbins points out, being ideal is the lowest standard you can have for yourself, as there is no such thing as perfect.
Mm,
Shifting your mindset to be okay with constructive feedback and then honestly taking that information and asking yourself, how can I be a better version of myself today, is essential. Bashing yourself and dwelling on the feedback as if it were criticism isn't going to serve you at all.
mm. I know we were chatting a bit, and I know for me when I would get feedback, I would get defensive.
Hmm.
Today I'm much better about it. Like I really want to I have curiosity to understand, but boy, in the beginning, man, that was hard. That was really hard because I was trying to be perfect.
And I also get to the point now that when someone says something to me and I don't understand, then I'll say, tell me more.
Yeah.
Give me some more context for me to understand, you know, why that feedback, because often I felt that a lot of times you just hear a little piece of it. And as soon as you heard that, it was like your ears shut off and your brain went into,
Yeah.
Mars or something, and you didn't hear the rest of what they said because you're too busy already beating yourself up. And it's not,
Yeah.
and we give feedback to other people. So it goes two ways
Yeah.
on whether, you know, and I totally agree. Some of the feedback I got early on when I was still, you know, I don't know if the word dysfunctional is the right one, but just in a different headspace mindset than I am now.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of that, and just being honest with myself. Like so many times you tell yourself stories.
Mm,
You find it difficult to be honest,
yeah.
I am guilty and charged of doing whatever. And it kind of sets you free when you actually even admit to yourself that, yeah, I wasn't in the right on that one.
Yeah.
and
So good.
move forward.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, Lana, how can our audience find you?
You
Get your book.
yeah, so we have a website, giveup.com. I'm sorry, giveupbook.com. And I'm also on Instagram and LinkedIn, both under Lana Shepard as well as the Give Up book. And the book's available on Amazon. So you
Yeah.
can Google Give Up Ignition and it will show up. The other thing is anybody that does purchase a book, at the bottom of each chapter page is a website, and it's a workbook that goes along, free workbook that goes along with the Give Up book.
Yeah.
And I
Each
just
chapter,
think
you
that's an
guys, there's work you can do.
well, yeah, and I think that's the thing is, it's one thing to read a book, but it's a second thing to actually take what you read and put it
Hmm.
into action in your life.
I
And
love
that's
it.
what the workbook is all about, is just giving you some more. It's kind of like an extra little toolbox full of tools to help you do a journal or
Yeah.
schedule things. Or every chapter, I've got just some extra little things that I'm hoping will help
Love it.
people. And it's again, it's all from feedback going, I wish I could have done, I had this. Well, let's
Hmm.
add it to the workbook.
What would you tell your 20 something self today?
Oh, I think the first thing I would say is you don't have to do it all alone.
Oh,
That would be, I think there's a few things that I probably say to myself, but I think that's the biggest one is that you don't have to. And I spent a lot of years as a single mom, working two jobs, struggling like you wouldn't believe.
hmm,
Never asked for never asked for help.
hmm,
I struggled. I struggled a lot. And it's made me who I am today. I'm grateful for that. However, it wouldn't have had to been quite the journey
hmm.
that. And I think the other thing would have been I would tell my 20-year self is, pay attention to your beliefs and make sure you're replacing them as required.
I think that's super healthy to have that perspective now when we could look back. So many of us, we just didn't see them. They were just down there, and where they came from, who knows? But then
I've
if you
got a
work with them, you
library
can,
of like
yeah.
600 books. And honestly, I do not remember reading anywhere in there about belief systems.
Uh-huh.
But it's like, someone says to you, how many red cars are there? And all of a sudden you see red cars.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think that was going to the UPW in 2017 and Tony really drilling into us about beliefs. Then all of a sudden, everything I saw, got exposed to after that,
Yeah.
had something to do with beliefs. And it was there before.
Yeah.
Maybe I just wasn't ready for it. I don't
Hmm.
know, but man, I'm so grateful for that experience and walking the coals with my kids. That
Yeah. Well,
game changer.
another good coach in that area is Byron Katie. I'm just a
Yes.
big Byron Katie fan,
Mm-hmm.
and doing the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet and really looking to see whether the belief is true or not.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that really did a number on a lot of mine.
Yeah. And Mary Morrissey is another one that I spent a lot of time training and mentoring with Mary.
Uh-huh.
And she really talks about universal laws and what you think about, you become. And the fact that we're basically light and energy, just having a human experience.
Oh, you had a chance to go to our online store, and I know you liked something.
Yes.
Can you tell us which one it
What
was?
did or
I think it was
my
Grace.
gosh. Yes, it was.
I think you liked the one
Yes, it
that
was. It was
definitely
Grace.
about Grace.
100%.
That one actually came from a guest. I
Mm,
actually developed that one and designed it because that she had that sense in her episode talking about, walking with grace. And I went, that looks like a nice card.
100%.
Yeah. So I'm glad you
Yes.
liked that one too. I could see you liking that
Yeah.
one too, as
Well, and
well.
I think it's important, when you have gratitude, grace,
Mhm.
um, and every day when I go to bed at night, I think about three things that I'm grateful for in the day, and I wake up in the morning and think about three things I'm grateful for.
Oh, that's great.
because there's people that didn't have the opportunity to open their eyes this morning.
Mhm.
There's people that are in a lot worse shape than I am.
So thank you for coming and being on the
Thank you.
show. It's
It's
been
been
so wonderful.
wonderful. Yes,
Uh,
100%.
Thank you. Thanks so much for joining us today. If Lana's story reminded you that growth often starts from letting go and that asking for help is a strength, I'd love for you to leave a review wherever you're listening. It helps more women find the show and start their own journey from being stuck to being empowered. If you know someone struggling with fear, perfectionism, or the invisible beliefs that hold them back, send this episode their way. Lana's insight from the Give Up book series might be the mindset reset they need to take that first brave step. You can also explore Lana's books in the Give Up series, available wherever books are sold, and check out our Courage and Transformation card in our online store. And don't forget, you can catch us on YouTube at Girl Take the Lead or YouTube Music and join deeper conversations with us in the public Facebook group Girl Take the Lead. A few of my favorite quotes from Lana were: success is less about what you take on and more about what you give up. And another, you can't have fun until the work ends. And sometimes the work never ends unless you let it. And lastly, fear is often inherited from old beliefs. Awareness is the first step to letting it go. Here are 3 takeaways from today's episode. 1, awareness empowers action. Recognizing hidden beliefs is essential for growth. 2, courage is cultivated. Stepping out of our comfort zone builds confidence and momentum. And 3, asking for help is strength, not weakness. Support systems accelerate success. Coming up next week on Girl Take the Lead, we'll be joined by Mary Jane Strom, the CEO of Girl Scouts Northern California since April 2025. Mary Jane had previously served as interim CEO and brings over 20 years of experience in youth development, nonprofit leadership, and outdoor programming. A lifetime Girl Scout member and Gold Award recipient herself, Mary Jane is a returning guest from episode 7. And that was before she was CEO. And I'm just so thrilled to celebrate her leadership progression in the organization on the show and all of her accomplishments. Until then, take care of your heart, lead with courage, and remember, you've got this. Talk soon.